Welcome to Think Simple Podcast. Deep topics, simple words.
Picture this. You're sitting in a living room.
Right.
And the TV is just overwhelmingly loud. And the people around you, maybe your closest friends or, your family, they are screaming at the top of their lungs.
Yeah, pacing the floor, gripping the couch.
Exactly. Tearing their hair out. And in a matter of seconds, they're either going to be completely emotionally destroyed or like flying high on just pure joy.
Yeah.
And why? Because 11 complete strangers who are playing a game in a stadium hundreds of miles away just won or lost.
Right.
But then there's you. You are sitting there on the couch feeling absolutely nothing. You might even feel like an alien who just landed on the wrong planet.
Like you missed a human software update or something.
Exactly. Wondering, what is wrong with me?
Well, it is such a deeply relatable experience. And honestly, it's a very real emotional struggle for a lot of people. You sit there wondering, why don't I care? Am I broken? Am I just a really boring person?
Yeah, it feels isolating.
It really does. It feels incredibly isolating when the whole world is speaking this loud, passionate language and you just don't understand it. But I want to tell you right away, your lack of interest does not mean you lack passion.
That is so important to hear.
It really is. It does not mean you are cold or unfeeling. You just process things differently.
And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the podcast. We are so glad you're here. Today, we want to help you understand the real reasons why some people simply do not care about sports.
We're going to keep it really simple, too.
Yes, very simple. We want to look at what this actually shows about your mind, your empathy, and even your genetics. It is fascinating. And if you enjoy learning about how we think and feel in a simple way, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future conversations.
Because, nearly 60% of people follow sports religiously.
Which is huge.
It is. So that makes the non-fan a minority, but a truly fascinating one, because this isn't about knowing the rules of the game. It's not about knowing what a foul is.
Right. It goes way deeper than that.
Much deeper. It is really about how your specific mind processes connection and reward.
So I guess we have to go back to, the very beginning of human survival. Like, why do people care about a ball going into a net at all?
Yeah, let's start there. Historically, humans are tribal creatures. For thousands of years, being part of a group wasn't just, a fun weekend activity.
It meant survival.
Exactly. It literally meant survival. Your tribe protected you. They helped you find food. If you were alone, you didn't survive.
Right. So that need to belong is hardwired into us.
It is. And that wiring doesn't just disappear because we have grocery stores now. Today, sports are basically our modern tribes, just with much better merchandise.
And expensive hot dogs.
Right. So when a fan watches their favorite team play, their brain is flooded with a chemical called oxytocin.
Okay, oxytocin, that's the bonding chemical, right?
Yes. It's the exact same chemical that makes you feel deep love for your family or like a new baby. The mind is literally tricking the sports fan into believing those athletes on the screen are members of their actual family.
Wait, really? So when a fan is crying because a player got hurt, they are getting the same warm, protective feelings that I get when I look at my dog or my best friend.
Yes, exactly that. Chemically speaking, there is no difference to the brain. It doesn't know the difference between a real family member and a sports player wearing your city's colors.
That is wild.
It is. But here is where it gets interesting for the non-fan. People who do not obsess over sports often have lower tribal needs.
Let me stop you there for a second. Lower tribal needs. That sounds a little, I don't know, like saying non-fans are antisocial or don't like people. Is that what that means?
Oh, that's a great question. No, it absolutely does not mean they're antisocial. Don't worry. It just means their core identity doesn't depend on being in a massive group.
Okay, that makes sense.
They are more individualistic. They don't need the safety blanket of a huge crowd to feel secure in who they are. And this actually has some really beautiful effects in real life.
Like what?
Well, studies show that people with low sports interest have far less us versus them thinking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they aren't constantly dividing the world into my team and the enemy.
Precisely. They don't automatically hate an opposing side just because of a different group label. They look at people based on who they are as individuals, not what colors they wear.
Which honestly sounds like a very peaceful way to live.
It really is. It lets them move through the world with a much calmer, more open view of other people.
But, that tribal connection is just one part. There's also the physical thrill of the game. Like, why is watching a game so incredibly addictive for fans, but just completely boring to non-fans?
Well, that brings us to dopamine.
The reward chemical.
Right. But dopamine is often misunderstood. People think it's just about pleasure, but it's actually about the anticipation of a reward.
The anticipation, like looking forward to something.
Exactly. Think about holding a lottery ticket before the numbers are called. That exciting feeling. That is dopamine firing in your brain, making you pay attention.
Okay, so how does that relate to sports?
A sports game is basically 3 hours of constant anticipation. Every single play, every shot, it's a tiny, unpredictable chance for a reward.
And you never know what's going to happen. It could be a disaster or it could be a miracle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that unpredictability is highly addictive to the mind. Because the reward is random, it hooks you. It is the exact same mechanism that makes a slot machine so hard to walk away from.
Oh, wow.
Brain scans even show that watching your favorite team activates the exact same reward centers as gambling.
But wait, so for the non-fan, they just don't get that feeling.
Exactly. They simply do not get their dopamine triggered by watching other people compete.
It's like trying to start a car with the wrong key. The engine just doesn't turn on for them when a goal is scored.
That is a perfect way to put it. They see the same flashing lights on the TV, the same points on the board, and feel absolutely nothing. And we need to be clear, this is not a choice.
Right. They aren't trying to be boring.
Not at all. It is biological. Research actually suggests this comes down to genetics.
Wait, really? Genetics?
Yes. Variations in dopamine genes, basically how well your brain absorbs dopamine, can predict how much you care about watching sports.
That is fascinating. So you're saying my genetic code might literally require a different key to unlock that happy feeling.
Yes. If your genetics mean you don't get a hit of dopamine from watching strangers play a game, your brain just doesn't pay attention. It gets bored. Your indifference to who wins the championship might literally be in your DNA.
That is so validating for anyone who has ever felt weird for not caring. But let's look at how this affects everyday life, because this doesn't just change your Sunday afternoon. It changes how you see yourself, right?
It does. It directly impacts your self-esteem.
Sure.
There is this concept where fans tie their personal self-worth to the team's success.
Oh, I see this all the time. You notice it with the words people use. When the team wins, the fans always say, "We won."
Yes! We played great today.
Right. But the second the team loses badly, suddenly the words change. Suddenly they say, "They lost. They played terrible."
It is so true.
I always think, well, why take credit for the win when you were just sitting on the couch eating snacks? You didn't do anything.
It's funny, but it happens because of the ego. Our ego wants to feel successful. So when the team wins, the fan's ego attaches to that win to feel powerful.
You won.
Right. But when the team loses, the ego cuts that connection to protect itself from feeling like a failure. They lost.
But non-fans don't do this.
No, they don't. Because they aren't emotionally invested in the team in the first place.
Yeah.
As a result, non-fans often have much more stable self-esteem.
Because their mood isn't jumping up and down based on a game.
Exactly. They don't wake up on Monday morning feeling like a failure just because someone dropped a ball on Sunday night.
Which sounds so much less stressful, honestly. But, this brings up an interesting point. If non-fans aren't attaching to teams, some people might think, well, maybe non-fans just don't care about anything. Maybe they have less empathy.
I'm glad you brought that up because that is a big misconception. Sports fans do score very high on empathy. They care deeply for strangers and team jerseys. But non-fans have just as much empathy. They just put it somewhere else.
Where do they put it?
Think of your empathy like a daily budget. You only have so much emotional energy to spend each day. We call this empathy allocation.
Empathy allocation.
Okay.
Meaning where you choose to spend your care.
Exactly. Sports fans spend a massive amount of their emotional currency on their team. Non-fans have the same amount of currency in their wallet. They just invest it differently.
So they spend it closer to home.
Yes.
Yeah.
They spend it on local social causes, on their personal relationships, or on creative projects. Non-fans are looking for the exact same things as fans, meaning connection and joy.
They just find it in a different place.
Right. They find it in an art gallery, or in taking a walk in nature, or in deep conversations instead of a loud stadium.
Like that friend who spends their whole Sunday painting. Or, volunteering at an animal shelter instead of watching the big game.
Exactly. Studies even show that people with low sports interest usually have a deep appreciation for art and new experiences. They feel just as much awe and excitement. They just use a different map to find it.
That makes total sense. But we should also talk about how non-fans handle living in a world that is completely obsessed with sports. Because it's not always just about, like, genetics or loving art. Sometimes not caring is actually a defense.
That happens sometimes, yes. And it is completely valid. For some people, ignoring sports is a protective shield.
Like if they had a bad experience.
Yeah, maybe they were picked on in gym class when they were kids because they weren't good at games. Or maybe they just feel uncomfortable with the really loud, aggressive culture that sometimes comes with sports.
Or maybe they just don't like how competitive everything is. We are always told to compete, to win, to beat the other guy. Simply refusing to watch that happen on TV can be a peaceful choice.
It really can be. It is okay if you just find sports boring, but it is also okay if you have a backstory that makes you want to avoid them. Both are fine.
I love that. So it really comes down to what gives our lives meaning. Fans love the story, right? They love the underdog, the drama,
Yes, to a fan, sports give them real-life drama with real stakes. But to a non-fan, that story feels empty.
because they can't control it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The non-fan thinks, why should I spend my energy caring about an outcome I can't control, played by people who don't know me?
Which is very logical. It's a one-sided relationship. The fan gives all this love and money, and the player has no idea who they are.
Right. And non-fans usually want real relationships. They want to put their energy into things where they are actually participating, where their actions actually change the outcome.
They want to be in the game of their own life, basically.
Beautifully said, yes. There is a concept called flow, being completely in the zone.
Oh, like when you are so focused on something you love that time just flies by.
Exactly that. Athletes get into that zone while playing, and fans kind of passively watch them do it. But non-fans often prefer to create that feeling for themselves.
They don't want to watch someone else be in the zone. They want to be in the zone themselves.
Right. By writing or building something or solving a problem, they are actively living their own moments of greatness.
I really want you, our listener, to think about that. Think about where you find those amazing moments in your life.
Yeah.
Is it when you finally finish a tough project? Is it a breakthrough in a relationship? There's something really wonderful about focusing on your own life instead of watching someone else's for 3 hours every Sunday.
It just shows how diverse we all are. Neither way is better. We all need a good story, and we all need connection. We just use different tools to get there.
Okay, let's keep this simple and quickly go over that again, just to wrap up everything we've talked about today.
Good idea.
If you are the person sitting on the couch, feeling absolutely nothing while everyone else screams at the TV, you are not broken.
Not at all.
You aren't missing out on being human. Your brain's reward system, your empathy allocation, and your need for a tribe are just set up differently.
Yeah.
You don't need a huge stadium of people to feel happy or connected.
You really don't.
So the next time someone looks at you in shock and asks, "Did you see the game last night?" you don't need to feel bad. You can just smile and remember that you aren't boring. You are just playing a different game with your own personal goals.
That is so true. And before we end, I want to leave you with one final thought to think about. We know humans are wired to want drama, connection, and a group to belong to.
Right.
Well, imagine if we woke up tomorrow and spectator sports were just completely gone, vanished. What new things would society invent to fill that exact same need? Where would all that huge emotional energy go?
Oh, wow. That is such a great question. Imagine the new hobbies or social groups that would pop up just to hold all that unused empathy. That is definitely something to think about.
It really makes you look at the world differently.
It does. Well, before we go, we just want to say thank you to our amazing listeners.
Yes, we truly appreciate your support and your time today.
We hope this conversation helped you understand yourself or maybe a friend a little bit better. Tell us in the comments, where do you spend your empathy? What puts you in the zone?
We love reading your messages.
We really do. Don't forget to subscribe for more easy and fun conversations like this one. Give this video a like if it helped you feel understood today.
And share it with someone who also feels like an alien during the big game.
Yes. Share it with a friend. Watch more full practice videos on our channel. Until next time, keep exploring your beautiful mind, keep practicing, and enjoy your day.
Bye for now.
Goodbye, everyone.